Peace and love, family. So I wanted to share this video with you. I was supposed to do this video on Saturday, but what happened was this was between like 7 and 8 in the morning. I woke up and I was doing my prayer of gratitude, when you wake up. So saying my prayer of gratitude, and all of a sudden I'm in the sky. Like, I'm in this place and I'm trying to figure out where I am because it's evening time and I don't know if I was in Miami or California. And the reason why I say that is because I was on the beach and the water was clear, like blue. It was blue, but it was like a nighttime, but towards the evening when the sun set, you know what I mean, like that. But it was still cloudy. The skies were cloudy. There were some parts where it was blue, and some parts where the clouds would be like puffy and dark, and some white, and like that type, very white, to the point where you almost see like a rainbow with it. So I'm up in the clouds and I'm looking, I'm like, whoa, where am I? And I can see down. As I'm looking down, I realize there's people on the beach, and some are pointing because they see me, because I can see the water. I'm above the water, but the clouds are on certain levels, those type of clouds. So I'm on the first level of the cloud, and above me there's another layer of clouds, and I could see sporadically where clouds are spread out. But as I see the people down on the bottom playing volleyball, and some people are just laid out on the beach, whatever, and they're pointing at me. And as I'm looking around to kind of grasp where I am, I recall, as I'm still floating in the sky, still floating, and I recall seeing these other clouds, and I saw ships, like spacecrafts. So I'm looking and I'm like, wow. And I look behind me, but at the same time I'm saying this, but I'm not turning all the way, because it's like I could see everything, so as I'm turning my body, it's like I could see everything. I could see the clouds. They had ships. Some ships were bigger, but they look like Battlestar Galactica. I don't know if you guys ever saw the show Battlestar Galactica back in the 1980s. Yeah, with Buck Rogers, that type of ships. I kid you not. That's the way they look to me, like back in the day. So, but I'm looking like each one of them have, and even above, there's more ships above as well on top of the cloud. They're like cloaked behind the clouds, you know what I mean? So as I'm on the cloud, there's a cloud under me as well, like I'm on top of this cloud, which I found very strange, because at one point I wasn't, and then I'm looking and I see these like lasers, like in forms of bullets, coming like flying past me, and I'm like, oh my god, am I in the middle of something? Like I'm in the middle of a war here, like a battle. So as these like laser beams are flying past me real fast, like bullets, I recall seeing it looked like a missile. So as the missile, it was long, and I could see the entail, like fire was coming out of it, like that. And I could see that it came from afar, from like a ship on the water, like in the ocean, because I recall seeing it came up like this, like that. So as it was coming near me, and I'm visualizing everything, and the missile is now under my foot, I felt like I was riding a skateboard, like that type of thing, and as I'm looking at it, even though it was coming really fast, it's like my eyesight honed in on it, as it was coming slow motion, but it was really fast, I kid you not. And I'm looking at it, and then I could see there was more ships, and they were firing back as well. Now, when I look further, now mind you, there was hundreds and hundreds of ships, a lot. So I recall seeing two beings, black, came out, man and woman came out, but the woman was before the man. He was behind her, like behind her, beside her, but behind her. You know what I mean? So I'm shocked, because they're in like armor, and they had on like it was like gold, and it was like white, like trim. I know, but it's like there was gold lace around. And I recall seeing the gentleman, he had an afro, and he had like I don't know what they call that for the men, but beard, like a mustache, and the beard was down like that. He looked like a god, like Lord or something, because, we saw those movies back in the day where they, portray like Moses or whatever. But this was a black man. He had like beard, like a lot of hair, like right here. I kid you not. Good looking. This man looked good. He was fine, okay? He was fine. He looked so good. He had jewelry. I want to say, I don't know if it was an earring, but I recall seeing gold here, okay? And I recall seeing this man's eyes. He was so chiseled, high cheekbone. He had a, I don't want to say mean, but he wasn't playing. There was no smile on this man's face, nor the female. And he was looking at me. He looked like Tyrese. You know how Tyrese used to look back in the day? And he had, because Tyrese was bald with no hair back in the day. But this man looked like Tyrese, and with hair, dark skin. He was darker than me. Like, dark. Like black, dark. But he was a fine looking man. So, I was just mesmerized by the beauty this man had. And the woman, she had on a crown. She had a crown on, and her hair was like about this length, like an afro, but it was curly, like that type, you know what I mean? And I was in awe. She was gorgeous. She was dark skinned too, black. And she looked like Iman. You remember the video that Michael Jackson did back in the day? And remember the time? Look at Iman. That woman looked just like her, but dark skin. Gorgeous. She was in her armor as well. Gold. Okay? And they were shining bright like a diamond. So as I'm looking, I'm like, I couldn't even tell you what else they had. I remember they had the gold like staff. But then in a split moment, I realized the gold staff were weapons. Like the military, the Marines or whatever, army guys, because my father was in the army. And I recall like their weapons were like guns, like machine guns, like that type of thing, rifle, like that. But theirs were staff, gold. And it was a weapon. It shot out laser, like weapon. It was a weapon. So as these bullets are flying, like I say bullets, but they were laser, as they're flying back and forth and everything, and the three of us are out like above the clouds, like looking at each other, I am in awe. Why did the female, the queen, I call her the queen, honey, because she had a crown, and she had jewels in her crown, but it was gold, it was bright. And she had another staff in her hand. And I recall it shaped like an umbrella, but it was gold. And it had gems along the handle. She went back strong. She went back real far, and she threw it at me. When I tell you the force, I felt powerful. I'm not going to lie. I felt mighty. And I caught it. To my surprise, I caught it. And as I caught it, it was like I already knew what to do. So I'm looking at this. I'm like, I got this in my hand, and I felt more powerful than anything. And all of a sudden, like I said, these lasers were coming, like bullets, whatever, past me and so forth. And I recall taking the handle part, and I remember pointing it to the right of me. You know what I mean? And I started firing. I'm firing at these ships, these Battlestar Galactica type looking ships. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm surprised because, your girl got strength. So now, all of a sudden, I look towards them. And like I said, ain't nobody talking, honey. We are looking at each other, having a conversation with thought. So now I go back down. And as I come back down to the beach, because that's where I was, because, and the people, and I recall the people still looking at me, and they are like scared of me because they're still pointing at me and stuff, like that. And so I'm like, okay, they're probably like that because, I'm up in the sky, I'm floating, there's nothing, whatever, because I appeared in the sky like that, and they were there on the beach looking at me from the beginning. and with all this happening, with the clouds, because remember I told you the clouds under my feet. So I guess there was like a cloaking thing where they couldn't see. But then as I got the staff and I'm coming down back to the beach, people are spreading out, like they're moving aside because they're shocked. And then I realize as I'm on the beach, I'm like, I'm here on the beach. Why do they look smaller? And I recall, I remember, like, I feel like my feet moving like that, but I feel taller than everyone, as though I'm looking at them as though they're about maybe 4 feet, not even like 3 feet tall, like little people. So I'm saying, I'm not getting further down, but then I realize I am down. It's like as though I had height. You get what I'm saying? So now I'm going back to where I was, like where I intended to go, because I was trying to go to this store, if you want to say, because I'm walking, and I recall making like a left turn. I couldn't even tell you where. I felt like I was in Miami, honest to goodness, to where South Beach is or whatever. And I'm making a turn, and I recall feeling pulled to this area, and I recall seeing like a shadow, but I couldn't, it looked like a shadow, but it probably was a being, and I couldn't quite make it out. But I recall going like this, and it disintegrated like that, and as I come back, I remember stopping in front of the store, and I was saying to this person, I don't know if the person worked there or whatever. It's like I could see people for who they were and tell them, get ready, like be ready, get ready, you need to get ready, like just telling certain people, not everyone, it was just certain people, and I felt like they were still asleep but not fully aware or of who they were, basically. And as I did that, and I walk, and because they were coming out of the store too, some people were in, and as I went down, it's like it felt like a movie, honest to goodness. It felt like one of those Marvel movies, and I'm looking and I'm like in awe. And I remember walking back towards the beach, and I recall holding the staff that I had, going up like that, like Thor. Just like Thor, because he had a hammer, Thor with a hammer, but that was our people anyway, but that's another story. But as I'm looking up to the clouds, I recall seeing the ships, like I could see it through the clouds. I could see it for what it was, you know what I mean? And I could see on this side where the I call her the queen, as she was just like this. She was standing there with her staff, and above, just looking down at me. And the gentleman that looked like Tyrese, he was looking down at me like this, like no smile, but there was seriousness. And so I recall being pulled up, and the people around me were like shocked. And I recalled a light. As I'm up in the clouds, I'm seeing this light. But then as I looked, and I looked at myself, I was that light. I was like light was coming off me. I was in armor like that, like I was a warrior. So now I'm a warrior fighting in this war, you know what I mean? But then it was like I was looking at the other ships. And as I was looking at the other ships, I recall like I was seeing a reflection of myself, because everyone was now looking at me as though, when you have to go like that. And all of a sudden I woke up. And as I woke up, like when I say woke up, I opened my eyes, because remember, I'm saying my prayer of gratitude, right? But as I woke up, my hands were like this. I was still like holding something, like I'm holding like this. And I was like, oh my, that felt so real. It felt so real. So I just wanted to share that, because I've been wanting to do another video. But then when I had this that happened on Saturday, I was like, I got to do this, because I don't want to forget, And I know maybe I forgot some details, but for the most part, I remember. And I have to start writing this down, because honestly, it's like a book. It's like a book. And I wanted to share that with you guys because, like I said, it was remarkable. And I was so happy, but at the same time, shock. Couldn't believe what I was seeing. You know what I'm saying? And this time I was wearing the armor, and it was like there is a conversation that was happening. So as above, there's some on the grounds as well that are not aware that they are part of the star system, I would say, or the galactic beings or whatever, however you want to call it. They are a part of it somehow, and they need to wake up because whatever is happening, they're here. They are here. They're already here, and some of us feel it, but for the most part, we're not even sure what's really going on. You know what I mean? But they're here, and they are not playing. There's no joke. This is serious. It's going down. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. So peace and love, family.